When you think back to your first ever comp prep, what was driving you back then? And how has your motivation and mindset changed and evolved over the years?
I think I talked about this somewhere else, but like when I started competing, it wasn't necessarily like a positive thing. It was more like I'm trying to prove a point to people. I think a lot of probably bodybuilders start like that. Like, how big can I get? How shredded can I get? You know, how well can I do in bodybuilding? And they tie their whole worth to their placing as well. And like at the beginning, it was more of like I'm trying to prove something to someone, whether it was like an ex or whether it was bullies at school or something like that. Like, look how jacked I can get. Like, you can't fuck with me now. And then I think it evolved over the years to something that when I got more educated around nutrition and when I started learning more about myself, and especially post like having Luna, it was just a really positive thing of what can I achieve, and it was a really more grounded nature than like I'm trying to prove something to everything, because I won the majority of my shows, right? But when I didn't win one of my shows, it was really negative, and it was more like, how could I lose to this person? And it was never like a nice experience. It was more like I was just beating myself up for ages.
Yeah.
So now when I lose, I'm like, not that I've lost since Luna, but well, in New York, but does that count?
That was barely a loss
More
anyway.
it's like I'm just proving something to myself. How well can I do? How far can I push myself?
Yeah.
So it has evolved immensely, and thank fuck, because I don't know where I would be if I still have that mindset of like I'm trying to prove something to someone else. Right?
Yeah. So like an external driving force rather than internal, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so what made that mindset shift? Has it been a gradual thing, or was it one defining moment?
That is a good question. I think it was just like little things over the years. Like the person that I've become, especially post having my daughter, I think that's been a huge change, because everything I do now is more so, do I want my daughter to see me like this? Is this the person that I want to be for her? So a lot of what I've changed into is more of like, what type of role model do I want to be? So role modeling like the behaviors of I'm trying to prove something to someone, that just feels ick, right? Like, that's not a nice motivating force whatsoever. But I think that was probably the biggest defining moment. Like, and my life obviously changed extreme, like 360 since having her. So I'm grateful for that in so many ways. But like, that was probably the moment, like when I had her. Yeah.
Yeah. What would you tell somebody who hasn't had a child? How would they be able to switch their mindset? So someone like I obviously don't have a kid.
Yeah.
I probably won't have a kid in the next few years, but how could I flip that switch from being external to internal without having a child to be a role model for?
Well, you have to think of like who else are you being a role model for? Like someone out there is actually looking up to you always. Like, and you might not think it, or you might not know who, but there is someone, whether it's through social media or a little sister or a brother or a parent or whatever it is, like they're looking up to you and they're like, this person's a fucking shit. They feel like you are everything. And that's important to be the person that you want to be for them, if not you at that moment, like, and it's also good just like to check yourself and your driving forces, because it just makes life so much easier when it comes from a place that is sustainable, because the other energy is not sustainable, like in terms of a negative energy of whether it's hate or trying to prove something to other people or whatever it is, like you will eventually burn out. And do you want to be that person that is like angry and hating on everyone all the time? Like, it's not a nice energy to move from.
No. And I don't think that you ever achieve as much as you could when you come from like a negative place.
Yeah.
When you're doing things out of hate and anger. When you hear people saying like, oh, anger drives me.
Yeah.
I don't think it would drive you as well as like love and passion and joy would drive you.
Yeah, there is a point when you would burn out from it, because you were just like, it's like chaos energy, like in Sonic. Do you know, like,
Yeah.
it's like that, right? Like you can only burn so bright until you burn out. But when you're coming from a place of like, grounded, love, passion for the sport, for yourself, it's self-sustaining. Like it just goes forever.
Yeah. What do you think the key thing to longevity is in bodybuilding and sport? Is it joy or?
I think it's just being able to enjoy what you're doing and have a true passion for health, like, and there isn't really longevity in bodybuilding, right? Like when you really think about it, like you can't stay in it forever.
Absolutely not. Absolutely
You
not.
cannot. So there is a time frame for that. But like in terms of outside, like health and fitness, like if you are just looking at what is truly healthy for me and asking that question to yourself constantly, that's a better place to figure out whether what you're doing is going to be able to help you live longer and live better,
How did you think about that at the start? Were you thinking about longevity in bodybuilding in your first few preps? Were you just thinking in this moment right now?
In this moment right now, what is the most that I can do to get the best result? And that was probably my thought process for like 25 years, 27 years, right? Like, but I think that's what you think about when you're in your early 20s is like, well, maybe not you, but like I think I was birthed into like prime bodybuilding, masculine hustle shit there for a long time because I wasn't surrounded by a lot of women in the sport. I was surrounded by a lot of men, and a lot of men at that time were like, "How big can I get? How shredded can I get? At all costs. I want to win at all costs." So that's like the place where I started. So like at that time, I was not thinking about what is going to be healthy for me. Fertility wise, what am I thinking about? How do I want to live when I'm older? Like, do I want my joints to be healthy? Like, do I want a regular cycle? Like those things I was not thinking about whatsoever.
Especially when you're coming from a place of it's do or die.
Yeah.
I have to prove all these people wrong
Yeah.
and I'm going to do whatever it takes. I don't care about anything else.
Yeah.
And then you do, and then you realize, that was definitely not the right road.
Yeah, that was the wrong decision to take.
But I guess if you didn't do that, you wouldn't be where you are now and you wouldn't have learnt the lessons that you learned. Do you feel like you needed to go through that to be who you are now?
100%. Like I wouldn't change my journey. Oh, okay, there would be things that I would change, 100%. But I'm glad that I did it so then I know that side of it. Because if I didn't know like that extreme, I wouldn't have what I have now in terms of like a balanced view to everything. And I wouldn't have had the success that I have. Obviously, if I did things differently, maybe I'd have more success. Maybe I'd be in a better off position. But you can't think like that in terms of life, right? Like you can't be like, I would change this and I'd be better off. It's like, I did that and that's okay. I'm here because of it.
Yeah. We only have the pleasure of looking back in hindsight and realizing that that was the right or the wrong move.
Yeah.
And at the time, you probably were just doing what you thought was right.
Yeah.
Even if you weren't thinking about it that much anyway.
Yeah.
What does balance look like for you right now?
So I was actually thinking about this weirdly in the car on the way over. But balance doesn't exist when you're looking to actually truly achieve something, right? And I think that's the problem where a lot of people get to because they're like, I'm just wanting to like have this balanced life, but then I'm also wanting to achieve this epic business goal, and I'm also wanting to achieve this epic physique goal. There is no balance when you're trying to really reach heights. Like the balance can come after the achievement, maybe if you can acknowledge that you've actually achieved something. Unless you're that type of person that's like, I achieved it, what's next? I achieved it, what's next? But like, yeah, like my balance, I literally just take everything off the table except for the most important things. And that's kind of how I achieve some sort of balance right now, because if you're trying to do everything, you don't end up doing anything well. So all I do in life right now is business, family, and prep. And that is it. So my friendships can kind of like suffer at this stage. My friends know that I'm probably not going to contact them for like 6 months, and that's okay. I don't have hobbies. I don't go out. We don't drink. We don't party. We don't do those types of things. And that's it. Like all of our energy is towards those three things, the most important things for us right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's like, and then I hear people that are like, my psychologist made me get a hobby. And so I'm like, that is just a distraction at this point in time. If I was spending 3 hours of my day a week doing some sort of thing that wasn't business, that wasn't prep, and that wasn't family, that is wasted time for me. Yeah, so there is a time in life, obviously, when you need to have those things and you need to have the softness of other avenues. But like right now, there is no balance really. It's like,
Yeah. Do you think your balance is just sustainable because you're finding joy in all of those three things that fills you up enough anyway?
yeah, like if I didn't love business as much as I would do, one, I wouldn't have done so well in it, and two, I would find it exhausting. And there was a time when I found really business exhausting, and that was prior to like really just getting clear on what we were trying to achieve. So we're just wasting a lot of time doing the wrong shit, essentially. But yeah, I find so much joy. Obviously, like, and I think every athlete is passionate in their sport, and that's why they do it, and that's why they do so well. So yes, this is true.
Yeah.
I enjoy each thing. Like,
Enough, right? Like
Yeah.
it's still going to be hard.
Yeah.
It's still going to be tricky. I think about burnout a lot, and I kind of correlate like if you have burnout, it's probably because you're fighting so hard for something that's not really aligned with
Yeah.
you at that time. Because I don't really see people burning out on their passions.
Yeah.
So if you're like grinding at business, family, you're doing all the things, but you love all of that and it brings you like real wholehearted joy.
Yeah.
I feel like you can't experience burnout.
yeah.
Is there things that you do to make sure that you don't push too far though?
So like I like to think of burnout in a different way as well. It's like it's not also a bad thing if you are like redlining it sometimes, because then that is showing you where your boundary is. And sometimes you're always gonna like step over it and do a little bit too much, but that's just an opportunity for you to be like, that was too far. Now I know my limit. I'll just draw it back a little bit. You know, so
Yeah.
like it's not necessarily a bad thing. I think a lot of people like they bitch and complain about burnout and you're like, it's not awful. You also need to know what your boundary limits are and what your boundaries are, and that's just one way of knowing. For me to manage burnout, it's more so like just managing work hours is one of the biggest things for me.
Yeah.
And making sure that within my day at some stage, I have like 10 minutes where I am just not doing anything. I'm going for a walk, or maybe I'm spending an extra 10 minutes with Luna. So like it doesn't have to be grand things like going to the spa or spending money on stuff or going on a holiday. Like it's literally like 5-10 minutes.
Yeah. Well, those 5-10 minutes are the precious ones that really make you feel good.
Yeah.
We always look for the external things of like, I'm going to go and I'm going to do like the sauna and the ice bath and all of this, and I'm going to feel amazing after.
Yeah.
Whereas, yeah, if you just went and patted your dog for 5 minutes or something, you'd
Yeah.
probably feel really good.
Yeah, exactly. It's like that's it.
When you first started your business, did you experience any self-doubt or were you really eager to get into it?
I think at every stage I've had some sort of like, I wouldn't call it imposter syndrome, but like that doubt of like, "Ugh, will I make it, or am I doing the right things, or am I enough is probably more, but like that, those types of things just drove me to do better and be a better coach and to develop my skills and to make sure I was doing enough. And I get a lot of like we do a lot of feedback and things like that. So yeah, at the beginning, again, I was a little bit of a cocky, like 20-ish-year-old person from the outside. Deep inside, I was like terribly insecure. So like from the outside, people would be like, shit, she's so confident and all that type of stuff. So that's kind of how I led my business. But I also think that I did a lot of like fake it till you make it type thing. And I think there's something in that in terms of like, even when you're not feeling brave, you do it anyway. So that's kind of how I started business, was like in that kind of mindset.
And that like breeds consistency. The more you just like fake it till you make it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that makes you then kind of confident in the end because you start seeing results.
Yeah. And it's not necessarily like faking it till you make it right. I think Mel Robbins talks about this. It's like showing up as the person that you want to be. So I just did that. I was like, the person that I want to be is confident, and they're not, you know, letting stupid little comments bother them, and they're just doing the work regardless of how hard it is and all of these things, these steps, and I just did them, and then it built that confidence of like, hey, it's working. You're getting some sort of result. Keep doing it. So, yeah.
have you always been a really highly motivated person to become successful?
I would say yeah. But like from an early age, I was always working like 2 or 3 jobs at a time, always hospitality stuff because that's all I had my hands on when I was 16, 15, 13. And then I moved into like nursing, and then I was like, this has to be something more here. And then I moved into PT, and I was like, all right, we're getting closer. Keep doing more of this. And then I moved into online. I was like, okay, now we got this. So it was just like constant, like I at all stages felt like there was something else and there was something more for me. And I was like, I have this feeling all the time. Even now, like if opportunities come up, I'm like, this could be it. Like I'm always trying to think in the future of like, what could this look like? And what is my actual goal for this? So like now I'm actually sitting in what my goal was when I was that nursing like student, being like, there is something else for me. Like I've visually, like, what's that word? Like,
Manifested it.
no, I felt it in my body that when I was in nursing that I was like, there's something else here for me, and I don't know what it is, but I will get it, like.
Yeah.
So I just kept working until I found that thing that gave me that feeling, and I was like, okay, we're here now. All right.
What would you tell people who are in that phase but don't know how to get to the next phase?
Just keep trying everything. Just keep trying stuff. Like study more or listen to things more. Surround yourself with better people, with smarter people. Move away from people that, you don't like and that aren't giving you good vibes, or like that don't have the same vision for life, because you essentially will become the people that you surround yourself with, right? So like that was one of the biggest things, was just constantly moving away from people that weren't doing the things that I valued, and they weren't in the same area of life or in the same mindset and things like that. So I just kept studying. I literally went from course to course trying to be like, what is my thing? What do I like the most? So I bounced for like years and years, probably like 6 years, from like just a course to another course. And I was like, closer. Like,
Yeah. Did you ever feel fear of judgment or fear of being cringy when you were starting out new things? Because I know that's a big problem for people now, is that they don't want to try something new because they're embarrassed of their friends being like, didn't you just try this other thing?
Yeah.
And, oh, is this not working? Did you experience that?
I've always had a really small group of friends. So I never really came from like that big group of people that would, one, judge me for trying something different. And I probably wouldn't be friends with people like that. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's really important to be in a group of friends that is open to that. And they're like, hey, like, that's awesome that you're trying that new thing, rather than like, weird. But like externally from like social media and stuff like that, like for sure I've always had that feeling of like judgment, but I always also bring it back to the fact that I'm like, I never want to feel like I'm living my life for someone else. And that's like more of like I'm like, I'm letting some cockheads, like, opinion rule my life. Like, how does that make sense, right? Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't when you think about it like that. People are like, I'm so embarrassed about this, or I'm scared of like starting this. I'm like, you're going to let your, retard mum-in-law tell you what to do? Like, cool. Like,
Yeah. And when you flip it like that and you actually say it in that language, like, this person is stopping you from doing what you want to do, it's like mind blowing. Like, holy shit.
Like, I'm letting someone that I wouldn't take advice from or look up to dictate what my next move is. Like, how does that make sense to you?
Yeah. Do you handle hate comments well then? I feel like you laugh at them.
It depends on like where I am in my day. But most of the time I'm like, okay, and me and Matt we bounce between the two things as well. When I'm in prep, and you are the same, like you are quite like sensitive, and but most of the time I'm like just like laugh at them, or I'm like, thank you so much for engagement. I always think about like them being like this fat lazy person in like their mum's basement, just sitting there like, oh, you look like a man, like. That's literally, and then I'm like, I just feel sorry for you now.
Yeah,
So that's all I think about.
Yeah, and you do it well of just not letting it get to you, because again, it's some random person's comment is going to control exactly how you feel. That's just,
Yeah.
we don't want that. We
Someone
don't
that
want
has
it at all.
never achieved anything that I have ever achieved or tried even this hard in their life, I'm going to let them dictate how I feel. Like, nah, it's not for me.
Yeah, me and Lily spoke about this last podcast about not taking advice or criticism from people you wouldn't want to swap lives with.
Yeah.
It's always the people that are doing nothing,
Yeah.
and I guess they're projecting their insecurities of kind of wishing they were like you.
Yeah.
Most judgment is somebody wishing they had your life and being like insecure that they haven't done it. So then
Yeah.
they're going to make you feel bad.
Bad about it, yeah, 100%.
It's hard though when hate just comes at you. You just go like, why? What are you
I think I've copped it since I started on social media. Like, so it was, and it used to be worse when I had a smaller page. And I think that sometimes they will target, especially like women that have like, you know, small, like they're not as confident, which is really sad. Like, but now that I feel like I'm like gained more confidence in myself, and that kind of portrays through my socials, like it doesn't bother me.
Do you feel pressure to uphold a certain image on social media now being on it for so long?
No, I think it's like self-sustaining. Like I'm literally just myself on it. So I don't feel like I need to be anyone else, or like at one stage I did. There was I clearly remember, and I think it was again prior to Luna when a lot of it was like really kind of forced. I would get on there after a big weekend and be like, getting my steps in, like, and that type of stuff. So it was really like, my actions were not in alignment with the person that I wanted to be. And that was a really hard time for me because I was constantly like, I'm trying to be someone else on social media that I'm not. But, you know, post that phase, I'm like, I just put up whatever I feel like it. And it usually does really well. And I don't look too much like, yes, we want to look at the metrics for Instagram and for business things, and really just to be like, okay, which ones hit and which ones didn't. Okay, I'll do more of this. But most of the time I just think of an idea and I'm like, film it, put it up. And then that's how I manage social media most of the time.
Yeah, and it's quite freeing, isn't it?
Yeah, you're saying, yeah, fuck it.
Yeah. When I think about you, I think like just no bullshit.
Yeah.
It's just straight to the point, like do the work. There's no fluffing about. And that's what I love about you. And I think that's what a lot of people love about you as well, is that you just cut out the noise, because social media is full of noise.
Just noise.
Yeah. When you first started in the fitness industry, what did you set out to do? Did you set out to become a big bodybuilder, or was it more so I wanted to be an influencer?
I've never wanted to be an influencer. Gaggy.
That word. It's a tricky word.
I've never wanted to, like, you know, like the traditional influencer sense of like have products and like promote them and be like, look at my Stanley Cup, buy one, Emily King. I've always wanted to just be like a leader and an educator and a coach, and that's hopefully what I've done with my page. And I feel like I'm doing more of it now than I ever have, but like that's all I wanted to do. I just wanted to document my process. I wanted to show people that it didn't have to be awful. And now, like, obviously it's changing towards, like, I want to be able to show people, especially parents, that, like, they can have everything they want in terms of, like, their health goals after kids. And it doesn't have to be, like, the worst thing ever.
That's so good. I love what you just said about being a coach and influencing people in the right way, not just being an influencer.
Yeah.
That's very cool. And really that's what people resonate with the most, people that they can actually trust. And I'm sure if you promoted products, you'd probably get so much more engagement than an actual influencer.
I literally get like messages every week of like, hey, would you mind putting up a post about this? I'll give you free product. I'm like, no. I've done it to friends. Like they've been like, hey, can you promote this supplement or something? I'm like, I don't use it, so I'm not doing it. And that's why I only have like Muscle Nation, Glam Fit. That's it. There's probably more.
The OGs.
Yeah, the OGs. That's really like, and I've had them for a decade, you know, so like I wouldn't do it unless I really believed in their product. And that just is how I manage all of my collaborations. I do like some for women's health because I really believe in what they're doing for the industry. Like, but yeah, outside of that, I'm like, I'm not going to promote your like little fucking, little travel case things or something like that.
How has the fitness industry changed since you first started?
So much. I sent Matt a photo the other day of like me laying on the beach. I was like, remember when Instagram was this? Like just still photos of us at the beach, like little
Wild.
photo of our booties and stuff. And it was so easy and it was like just simple times. But it's more I like it more now that we see people's personality and we're seeing the behind the scenes, and that's what I truly love about social media, not everything else, because I still do wholeheartedly believe that, especially in the fitness industry, a lot of coaches in particular, like women, will just put up the most filtered versions of themselves, and it makes everyone else feel inferior to them, right? Like they always have their hair done, they always have their makeup done, they're always like wearing a bikini with a little tight body. But I'm like, that isn't their reality. Like, so I think it's really important for people to see like this whole spectrum of you, especially as a coach, because then you're going to relate to a lot more people.
Yeah. It can be scary at the start when you have not really shown that side of you. I struggled a lot with opening up a little bit more and sharing my struggles because for so long I tied all my self-worth to just being this like picture perfect athlete person, and then behind the closed doors I was having all these things and then I felt really fake, but when I broke through it kind of, if it was tricky and scary, but now I'm realizing people actually resonate with that so much more.
And it makes you feel like you can actually share things on social media. Like you said, you kind of felt fake. Like, and I think there's so much in that in terms of like, you want to make you want to make sure that you are showing them that, because it makes you feel like it's shameful to show that side of you that has the imperfections. But in fact, that is just life and everyone. So that's why I kind of refuse to do a lot of things. Like I don't love doing like photo shoots with a heap of makeup on and posting those photos, because that's not me. And I look at those photos, I like when I went through the FMG phase, I looked at all those photos and I wouldn't repost them because I'm like, this isn't me. I don't even look like me, right? Like I hated it. So like, there was a lot of things that I do on social media, and like I don't show a lot of like Luna and things like that, but I do show sometimes the struggles with like normal parental things. So it's good to normalize a lot of things, because then it makes other people feel better as well as you, because you're like, oh, I don't have to hold up this thing of me being perfect, because no one's perfect.
How does that feel for you when you get the praise for being yourself? It feels so much nicer.
Yeah, like I don't really like look at too much anymore, to the best of my degree, like of like the relationship back and forth of social media. Like I said, I just usually put things there, and I do get nice comments, but I'm not like, I always think, what if it was taken away? How would I feel about myself? So that's kind of how I base social media. Because still, like, you don't want to be, although we do it as humans, and we always will, are seeking that external validation, no matter how, like, grounded and fucking whatever you are, but, like, you will always try and find that in something. So I tried not to, like, oh, that's a really nice comment, or put something up for that praise. I'm just putting it there for me, really.
Have you ever felt pressure to sustain the success in bodybuilding? Not so much on social media, but the more that you've gone through your bodybuilding career, have you felt pressure in that sense?
Oh, I think always. Like, you don't want to go backwards. That would mean that you are not improving, and that would be then defy why you are doing this in the first place, right? Like, the only aim for me as a bodybuilder is to get better each season. And I think at the end of this season, obviously it being my last, it will be when I can truly kind of walk through that journey of like how I feel about myself after bodybuilding. Because I think about it constantly, like in the gym, when people are looking at me or giving me compliments, and although that's great, I'm like, what if when is this done, how will I feel about myself?
Yeah.
And I will literally not know it until I feel it, though, because I can't really think about how that's gonna feel.
Yeah. a lot of athletes struggle with the identity shift when they come out of their sport.
Yeah.
Is that something you've thought a lot about?
I already sort of did it with Luna when I had her because I didn't know that whether I was coming back to competing or not. And I went through that whole hybrid running phase that everyone goes through, and you see it happening. And I was like, I've been there, sister.
You were the OG. Your knees will hurt.
You won't be able to do it. I'll see you back in bodybuilding. So like, I don't know, and I really honestly can't say whether this will be the last one or not. Because like, what if I do qualify and go to Olympia? Then I have my second baby, and then I want to come back because I know now that pregnancy and postpartum isn't the death of your competing career, right? Like I know that because I've walked that journey. So I will have to call that shot myself, really. And as much as I want to be like, this is it, I just don't know. I don't know how well I'll do. Like, I honestly can't see myself for the way that people see me. I still think I look like a piece of shit majority of the time. So, like, but then I see myself, I'm like, oh, okay, I do it okay. You know, like.
Pretty muscly.
So I honestly don't know how I'm going to go when I go overseas. And that's okay with me. I'm not like, that's not weird for me to think about. But, like, I don't know how I'm going to feel after bodybuilding, but I know that it will probably take a hit to my ego not to be noticed and like people to give me compliments. And that sounds a bit strange, but like it's true. That's what I chased for such a long time, for people to notice me, you know, and that was that drive of like not the positive drive. So now when people aren't noticing me, how will I feel about myself?
Yeah. Well, I think people will notice you in all the other
All the
endeavors that
things.
you go on, right?
Yeah.
Like you're a successful bodybuilder, but you are also a very successful businesswoman. And then whatever you do then, I'm sure people will be noticing you for
Then
that.
am I chasing external validation for the rest of my life?
Well, we hope not.
You know, that's the thing. It's like, am I doing these things for myself or am I doing them for... I think sometimes it's a combination of both. Like we do it to be noticed and we do it for the accolades, but we're also doing it for our own challenge as well.
Yeah. I think all successful people are doing it for both.
Yeah.
I don't really see people that are 100%, it's all for me, all for me.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like there's a little bit of us that just likes winning a gold medal.
Yeah.
It's nice to stand on a stage and everyone cheer for you.
Yeah.
Like, of course.
Yeah.
That's like a driving thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think you're good at not really tying your self-worth to your physique.
Yeah.
I know that your body changes and that's awesome as well. So I think when you do come out of bodybuilding, it might not be a big hit because of that.
I don't think it's going to be... I don't think I'm going to have to like, you know, go deep into it or, you know, take time to figure it out for myself. I literally just think it's going to be like day after day, I see how I feel, but it's also not going to be a big thing. I like to keep myself busy in terms of like, I got mum life, I got business. So yeah, I don't think it's going to be the worst thing. It's just going to be probably those little moments of like remembering like, oh, like how nice it was to feel X, Y, and Z, or how nice it was like to be on the stage and to be doing what you love and performing your craft. Like they're probably things that I'll miss the most, like just the process of it.
Yeah.
Like going to the comps and doing all the lead up and all that type of stuff. So like I think I'll miss that more than people looking at me. You know?
Yeah. Why do you think people struggle so much post-comp?
I think probably people struggle post-comp because they have like lack of goals next. Always. Like I struggled first a lot of the times because I was just kind of, I didn't really have the best coaching experiences, and that was my fault because it was very much back in the day when you did a comp and then that's it, you dropped off and you didn't do an off season with them. And it was like this weird, like, what do I do now? And then you just sign back up with them 12 weeks out. Like that's how comp prep coaching used to be before we figured out that the off season is the most important thing. Fancy that. So it was like, for me, every time I struggled, it was because I had lack of goals. And didn't have accountability, someone telling me, this is what we're doing for the next 2 weeks. Then we're doing this for the next 4 weeks. And then we're going into the next build because you want to be the best competitor that you want to be. So this off season is the most important thing. So when you have someone that's guiding you in the right direction and you trust them, I think that matters more than anything. obviously then we have like the hormonal effects of post-comp, especially for women that are natural is probably the worst for them, to be honest, because they have all this like down regulation of their natural hormones, which creates this really like sad phase where they have low testosterone, low progesterone, and all of the things that make them feel good and perform good. So you need to have a really strategic approach with post-comp in terms of a period of time where you're just like giving your body what it needs to thrive essentially and bringing training back in, but not too much because you've usually had a lot of output. It's just like there needs to be a big rebalancing. And I think the issue with a lot of women is I don't think a lot of men go through this, but women usually go, now I'm going to put in HIIT class, I'm going to go running, I'm going to be a hybrid athlete. And they've essentially just increased their output again post-comp. And you're like, no wonder you feel like shit.
Yeah.
You know, and then they're losing muscle because their hormones are in the bin.
Yeah.
And then they roll around to the next comp and they look exactly the same.
Yeah. And maybe guys too, but I feel like girls are always the one that goes show to show, or like season to season. Yeah. I see it so often. Younger girls as well, like will do back-to-back seasons for years. Yeah. Like you need to have a break.
You need to have a break and you need to build muscle. Like I did that, but I would like I don't know if I can confidently say this, but I can half confidently say this, that I have like a more genetic potential than most. And there's a reason why I've done so well in this sport, right? Like, so even in my natty phases when I was doing back-to-back ICN shows, I was growing on very minimal input. So like that is what was able to help me build through that phase essentially. But imagine where I would be if I actually took a season off. But I also think it's a culture of like the coach is like, oh yeah, next comp. Oh yeah, next one. Like 6 weeks out for the next one.
And then pair your whole identity being a bodybuilder, pair external validation. That's a recipe for continuously going and never stopping.
Yeah. Literally.
Never stopping.
And then they're like, they're emerging out of it when they're like 25 and they haven't had a period for 6 years and now they have osteopenia and, brittle and all that type of shit and they haven't got a piece of muscle on them. So, like, it's important.
Yeah. If I could go back to my first bodybuilding, experiences, I essentially have gone through everything that you just went through. Like I'm 27 now, realizing that for the last 5 years, I haven't had a consistent cycle, I haven't slept very well. Yeah. I really struggled to build muscle, all these things. And for so long, I was like, push through it, just keep pushing harder. And I'm like, oh, that was, again, just the wrong way. I didn't really take the time to sort of flip it and go, okay, what does my body need? What do my hormones need?
Yeah.
And now I'm sort of dealing with all the repercussions now, trying to just figure it all out.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I absolutely was chasing that external validation as well and had to, I could never have a month off to reset because I was like, I have to keep going.
Everyone's expecting me to do the next comp.
When you realize, actually, nobody cares.
No one gives a fuck about what you're doing.
Literally. People forget so quickly, hey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the only people that are going to have weird comments are people that have no idea about what you're doing. Right. It's really important. Like, I would ever only, and it is a hard conversation to have, and it's usually a personality type that I used to get a lot of that were, more of that, season after season and back-to-back shows, and I'd have to be like, if you want to do that show, I'm not your coach. Like that, and that's a really hard conversation to have as a coach when your financial situation is weighed on how many clients you have, right? So but I think it's always better to be the better coach than the person that just pushes clients through shows.
Absolutely, and that's where you build trust and the people actually believe that you care about them.
Yeah.
You need to care
about your athletes.
Yes, and you need to trust that your coach actually cares about you.
Yeah.
Which is, So back when you first started, did you had coaches? Were they just random kind of people?
So my first coach was just a general population coach. He didn't really have a clue what he was trying to do. I was on this ridiculous meal plan that was lettuce and chicken and lettuce and chicken and lettuce and chicken and just the standard bodybuilding shit.
Great.
A few of them I coached myself through, just doing bodybuilding.com programs. Bikini athlete or whatever, not that was on bodybuilding.com at the time. And then like just random coaches, someone from overseas that was like, you know, at the time I thought I was like, I thought I was, you know, paying so much money. It was like $200 for a season or something like this.
Oh.
And I obviously was getting like just like this like slap on program. It
Yeah.
was so complicated too. It was like these like really fancy meals with like 6 almonds and like really strange quantities of things. One prep, all I ate was like eggs on toast the whole time because that's what I thought was gonna work out for me. Protein and carbs.
Well, I guess it's all balanced. Got a bit of fats.
It's literally where I look back and I learned that I'm like, it doesn't need to be as complex as people make it out to be. You really just need to be in a calorie deficit and looking at protein intake. And so that's why I'm more relaxed about preps moving forward because I know exactly the dumb shit that I've done and the result that I got from it. So even if I'm like 90% in my prep, I'm going to get the fucking best results. It's just the consistency of it. So
Yes. I was just about to ask that. So when you look at consistency and perfection, do you veer more on the consistency side of things?
I'm definitely not one of those athletes that's like shreddy 180. I can't be that person. And I probably beat myself up about it for a lot longer than I needed to because there was that like as an athlete, I should be 100% and I should never veer off my meal plan and I should never, you know, have days off. And that's like more so like Matt's mindset when it comes to prep, but now he's a little bit softer because I've helped him. But for me, I have to have that flexibility. And when I say flexibility, I'm still better than 99% of people, right? Like I'm always within my calories. I'm always very close to my macros. But if I want to go out and have breakfast one morning, I'm going to do that. If I want to have a slightly different dinner, I'm going to do that. If I want to work in a muffin in my day, I'm going to do that. But it's not happening all the time. Like with prep, I probably look at one variable changed every 2 to 3 days. So like, and I know how much I can get away with. Like on the weekend, I had cake for Luna's birthday, and I made that work, and I just moved my calories around. So like, there are things that I will change based on what I feel like I need, and also like if I doing this now for like a decade. I realize that like this approach is approach that works for me and it may not work for other people and that's completely okay. But I've got here doing it, so that is proof of it working.
Yeah.
If I had to be 100%, I don't think I could actually stick to anything long enough because there's not enough play for me. Like I would be too restricted.
Do you think as well that's come from just doing it for so long that now you understand food and your body so much better? Would you recommend the same thing to someone doing their first prep?
I would recommend that approach for most people, to be honest with you. It's a kinder approach on your mindset as well, instead of being like, because I've done both. I've done, okay, to put it in perspective, I've tried every prep in terms of the 100% never veering off path prep, and then the more flexible approach to prep, and then maybe a too flexible approach to prep. And I've kind of come down to like in the middle, like, okay, this is where it works. And it's like the same approach that I teach all of my general population clients in deficits. Like, do the same thing most days. When you need a change it. Like, don't just like change things for the sake of changing it. Don't track as you're going. Don't fill your diet full of dumb shit. But like, if you need to change a breakfast because you want a different breakfast, then do that. If you want to have a piece of pizza, put that in, but just track the rest of your day to suit.
Yeah, that's perfect advice. And I think people listening to this will really like that advice as well because there's lots of noise out there of people being like, if you're not perfect, you're going to fail. And I believed that for so
and you
long.
Suck and you're not an athlete.
Yeah. I want to pivot a little bit and ask you about what you just said about Matt. So backstory, me and Cal are very similar in the sense that I need a lot of joy and I need a bit of flexibility. I like to go out. I love eating. It's fun for me.
Yeah.
Callum's opposite. He's very, very strict, very robotic. He will weigh his asparagus down to the gram, and if it's 101 and he needs 100, he'll rip a little bit of asparagus off. And it's crazy, right? But that works for him, and he actually enjoys, and that's perfect. But for a very long time, I compared myself to him, and I had this deep core belief that I was never going to be as successful as Callum because I didn't work, quote unquote, work as hard as him. Have you experienced that?
Yeah, it's exactly the same relationship. Like, yeah. So like, and for Matt, he came from a rugby league background. He's always been an athlete, so he's carried this same trait for life, right? Now he's a little bit more flexible, so he adopts what I kind of do, and he now sees that it works. But he needed that proof to be like, your approach works, and it's not just bullshit. But I did, and I think against other athletes too, I compared myself because I would see them on social media, and they would have their little containers, and they'd be taking them to dinner out, and I'd be like, but I just had a flexible dinner. Like, does that make me less of an athlete? And actually, someone said it like this the other day. I don't know the names of these tennis players, so I'm just not going to attempt to know. But apparently, there's 2 tennis players. One is like Callum and Matt, and one is like us, and they are the best in the world. And their approaches, although very different, have led them to the same place. So, and if they had swapped their approach, they wouldn't be where they are today. So it's like, it's not that one is better than the other, it's just one's better for that person.
Yeah. You have to find what works for you. 100%. Yeah, it's the same even in when I think about like, I don't know, think of like Michael Phelps and Usain Bolt. They both are like the best in their field, but they both so different in how they approach it. Like Michael Phelps is super stoic and Usain Bolt's like laughing around and there's not one that's better than the other. It literally just is.
Yeah.
How do you deal with the negative self-talk though? When that pops up, what do you do?
Look, I still feel like it gets to be, because like when you are like at the level that I am, like everything does matter and you have to be as accurate as you possibly can. So I always just bring it back to like, am I enjoying what I'm doing? Am I getting the result that I want? And if it's like, yes, and I'm like, sweet, then that's all I need. So like, I will always have the days where I'm like, oh, maybe I should be a little bit more accurate. Or like for Luna's birthday, I had the cake and then, you know, my macros were a little bit off and I was like, oh, fuck, like, but then I have to just consistently encourage and remind myself, is one day of having slightly different macros really going to matter in the grand scheme of things? And I'm like, no. Then did I prioritize memories that day or did I prioritize progress? And I'm like, I did both, really. But like, it's just the constant re-educating because I don't think you're ever going to get rid of those voices. It's just like reminding yourself, I am on the right path and I'm doing the right thing for me, even if it looks different.
Do you do all this in your head? Do you write? Do you journal?
No, I don't journal.
You've got a daughter. You've got children.
I will write notes sometimes, but I don't have like a journal or anything like that. I just do it in my head constantly.
That's good and that's great. I think it's so beneficial if you can like hear the negative self-talk and then sort of just diffuse it in your mind while it's happening, then you're not going to spiral.
Yeah.
Because the spiraling is when it like becomes quite detrimental.
Yeah.
Do you think younger people who are more in social media are struggling with this more than, say, you are?
Like, to think of how much I struggled with it as a young person in social media, like, I think there's just people like with absolute chaos in their heads at the moment in terms of like what they should and shouldn't be doing or how they should and shouldn't be training and how they shouldn't be eating. And it's really hard to figure out what to do. And that's why I coach. And that's why I'm so aggressive about the way that I coach is because I'm like, I'm just trying to shock people into be like, stop listening to everything and just listen to me. And that is the only thing that really matters because I'm trying to tell you the truth here. But yeah, I totally understand. Like it would be really confusing. And I get confused going on social media sometimes because I'm like, does that even matter? Like it makes me think. I'm like, no, it doesn't matter. Like what the fuck?
Yeah, I saw something, Alex Hormozy. I actually really love his stuff.
Yeah,
but he posted something the other day and he's like, if you're in your 20s and you're talking about, I don't know, it was like work-life balance or something. He's like, you're never going to succeed or something. And I was like, oh, shit, should I like not be going and having fun on the weekends now? I was like panicking. I'm like, no, stop.
Different people, different goals, right?
Exactly.
And I think like for people like him, and I was more along that line, but like that is me, right? And you were you, so you can't expect people to have the same journey. His content I love so much, but like it is very like, and it's meant to be. It's meant to be jarring. And it's meant to grab you, and it's meant to make you think. So like, it is. I believe majority of what he says, but it's also hard to hear that because you're like, but there are people if business is what you want to focus on, or physique goals or whatever, you have to go all in and you have to get rid of all distractions, because that's how you're going to get the best results. If you have too many distractions and too much life balance, you're not actually going to get there the way that you should.
Yeah. It's interesting because we're talking right now about not being the perfect athlete or whatever.
Yeah.
But I would say you and I probably work harder than anybody else. And so our balance and our like slip ups or you eating the cake, it's still, we work so hard. And sometimes I don't even think people realize actually how hard you would have worked your whole career. But right now, like you're kind of putting out there like, yes, okay, I do have
this
flexibility,
yeah.
but it's still not as flexible. Like it's not very flexible.
Like I'm not going out and have a dinner or something like that. Like during prep, and that's one of the biggest shifts that I've seen during this prep, and probably why it's been so easy actually. And I've seen probably the best result is that like we haven't socialized. We don't go to events. We don't do anything outside of prep, eat, train, work, sleep.
Yeah, and you really do have to just dial it in and block out the noise.
Yeah.
Block out the
unnecessary things, and it makes it easier because then I'm not going like, oh, I wish I could have that. Or I try to make that work, and then all my macros are off for the day because I tried to make that dinner work. Like I've had birthdays with friends and I'm like, I can't come. I'm not even going to sit there. I'm not even going to sit there with my meal because it's like, one, I need to get to bed at a certain time.
That's important.
I will always make room for the things that I want to do. Like we'll always have a donut at the markets on a Saturday, but I'm not making room for like, a breakfast out with someone that I will go see. If I don't want to do it, it's not going to work for me. And that sounds really selfish, but I'm like, I have a very short period of time to be very selfish, and this is one of those moments.
Yeah. But being selfish is also proving to Luna that you put yourself first.
Yeah.
Showing your kids that I'm going to do the things that I want to do is so good. And to some people, it might look selfish that you're still bodybuilding or whatever. I don't know if people would think that. But I think that it's showing your daughter that I'm going to like do what I set out to do.
Yeah.
I'm going to chase my goals. She'll look up to you and be like, holy shit, my mom is a freaking like boss.
You only have to talk to like kids that have had athlete parents, and the values that they have been like witnessing their entire life. It's like crazy. Like they're like, I have clients that have athlete parents, and it's just like, and they are then athletes themselves. They are more disciplined. They are more focused. They had someone role modeling those behaviors as they were growing up. And it's like, it's a clear distinction between that and a mum that, self-sacrificed her entire life to, not that it's a bad thing, but like, didn't show up for herself and didn't train and didn't look after her health. Like that's what you're role modeled. So what are you going to do when you grow up? You're not going to look after yourself. You're not going to train. You're not going to do the things that are health promoting. So like, I would rather be this. And I always have conversations with myself about this too. Because one time I did have someone being like, it was ages ago, being like, isn't it obsessed? Do you not think it's bad that she sees you in this obsessive nature with bodybuilding? And I was like, do you know what I find bad? That there are people that are showing their kids constant yo-yo dieting, that they start something and they never finish, that they're jumping between F45, HIIT, Pilates, workouts, and they're just not achieving, that they are never changing and growing. Like, that's worse. So, yeah, I would rather see me go after my goals, and therefore she knows that she can go after her goals.
That is really powerful and will absolutely resonate with a lot of people. Is discipline something you had to build then, or was it role modeled to you?
So my parents role modeled that differently to me. My parents were really hardworking in terms of like their career choices. So I always saw them not prioritizing work, but like just going to work, getting it done, building the life that they wanted for us being able to go on like nice holidays. And although we didn't have a lot of money, it was like, I knew and I felt like they were just like hardworking people. And that's what I was role modeled. So then when I started working and stuff, that is how I attacked all my jobs. Is like I was there, I was punctual, I was showing up, I was respectful, and it just like snowballed from there.
Yeah, that's the same as my parents too. They've both never really stepped foot in the gym, but they both have really showed me like working hard and showing up and doing the things you don't want to do consistently. Like they've showed me that's how you kind of get.
Yeah.
Well, that's honestly like the key to everything, though,
Yeah.
right?
Like so it's the same thing in life that it is in business, that it is in physique goals. Like get in there, doing the work, just get it done.
Consistency. How would you sort of guide someone if they hadn't been role model disciplined, don't know how to be disciplined? What would be like 3 steps you'd tell them to start being disciplined?
I see this more often than not, obviously, with the coaching that we do. And it's like just breaking what they want to do down into like 3 easy steps for them and then just noticing what comes up for them. So usually I break it down into like, so when people come in on coaching, I do track your food consistently, get your daily steps in, and then manage your sleep. Those are like the 3 main things. Training's important, yes, but that can come like at a later date. And then when that's happening, it's like when you get to the weekend and you feel like you don't want to track, what is that feeling that's coming up for you? And then you're acknowledging that like, okay, this is the point where I'd usually give up. And those moments are where we build confidence within ourselves to do the things that we don't want to do. And literally over time, it's just those little things of like, hey, I want to give up, but I'm not going to do it. Okay, cool. So I'm going to do this thing. And then it's like you just build on those habits over time. Like confidence isn't the way that you look or how skinny you are or how big your titties are, whatever it is. It's literally like showing up, doing the work despite how you feel. And over time, it's those little things that build confidence within yourself.
Yes. Prove it to yourself that you are who you say you are. And when you prove it to yourself often enough, you believe it and you feel confident about yourself.
Yeah.
That's why I think people love preps too, though, right? Because you're constantly ticking the boxes. You're like, I do the things I set out to do. Makes you feel so good about yourself.
Yeah. And that's why you need to have those things post-comp as well. Cardio, steps, it doesn't stop, right? Like if you are like an athlete, I don't know who people listen to this, but like if you are an athlete and you want to continue to be an athlete and do good at athleting.
Words,
you have to treat your off season the same as your prep season. There is no ifs or buts there. You cannot go fucking run a marathon in your off season or do high rocks or turn into a hybrid athlete and then want to go back to bodybuilding. Like, no wonder you suck. You know, like stop doing that. So if you want to be an athlete and compete, then be an athlete and compete. And being an athlete doesn't stop when you get off the stage.
Yeah. And that's if you want to improve. Like if you're wanting to go and have fun and learn all these new skills, do it.
Yeah.
But if you're actually serious about improving show to show, you do need to dial in.
And if you're not serious about improving show to show, why are you competing in the first place?
Yes, that is a question to be asking yourself.
Yeah.
Do you think that it's become more popular that people are competing for
I think hopefully now it's kind of coming out of that phase because I think there's more people talking about it.
Yeah.
But it is still a thing, especially in the FMGs and especially in the bikini division. Obviously, it's like I'm not saying bikini's easy, but like it's the level that people step up onto.
Yeah.
Or fit model now.
Yeah.
I guess. So like
100%.
I still think it's a thing, and I think we need to. I was thinking about the other day where all these girls do these bikini reveals. I'm like, it is not about the bikini. It's about the fucking body.
Yeah.
Like, stop making the bikini thing such a thing. It's not the bikini. Fuck. Someone's like, what color is your bikini? I was like, I haven't even thought about it. That's I'm going overseas in 4 weeks and I don't even have a fucking bikini.
Probably the same as last time, to be fair.
I'm just putting the same one on. Like, that's literally it. And and like, oh, don't listen to me. I've only competed fucking 15 times and won multiple pro shows. Like, I have no idea what I'm talking about. Like, care more about your process and care more about your body than the bikini. It should be the body reveal. I don't know, but like, less about the bikini girls.
Yeah. Just in general, when you enjoy the process and you're actually doing it for the intrinsic motivation, doing it to be your best and like actually improve your physique, you just feel so much better.
Yeah.
You feel so much better. It is tricky though with like the FMG side of things because they are more, it is just like the glitz and the glam.
Yeah.
But I think when people come over to the other federation, like come over to IFBB, they sort of realize like, okay, this is like where we praise the hard work.
Yeah.
Like if I'm backstage, or not even backstage, if I'm looking at someone in Instagram and I like their physique, I'm like, cool, I like their physique. I think more about like, holy shit, she must work really hard.
Yeah.
Like I love that about her. I love how consistent she is. I love how freaking heavy she lifts in the gym. Like that's so cool.
Yeah.
Rather than like, oh, she looks so beautiful.
Yeah, it's a different thing. Oh, she has nice hair. She has a nice bikini. She has big boobs. Like, yeah, it's a different thing whatsoever. I think there's a different federations obviously reward different things, and I'm not saying FMG doesn't reward the physiques because they have fantastic physiques.
They do.
But it's a lot about the other things as well.
Yeah.
And that's fine. That's part of their criteria. But if you want to do like proper bodybuilding where you're going to be rewarded for your physique, then that is going to be more so along the lines of the IFBB.
Yeah. Are you excited for your second pro show? Was it your second pro show?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Are you excited?
Yeah. I am really excited. And I seen Danny on the weekend. She
Holy
qualified for Olympia. So shout out to her. But I was like, I think I'm better than I think I am. You know,
that's a win.
I was like, not to put anyone down on that show, but I'm like, I think my physique stacks up well against those types of lineups. So like, I'm really excited to see how I go. Obviously, like I'm also worried that I haven't told this one. I'm worried that I've missed the shows where not a lot of people were competing. Like it was like the last 6 shows, and I was like, I would have won that.
Yes, that is like quite common that they get, because closer to the Olympia, people are going to do more, right? Because they're getting in condition. That's fine. That's fine.
So I'd rather have more competition and do well than win a show that has 0 competition.
I was literally just about to say that. A 4th, 5th, 6th place in a massive lineup is so much more exciting than a win in an easy show. I mean, no pro show is easy because holy shit, being on a freaking pro stage is amazing. I just want to reflect. You said before, right at the start, you said something about you lost like the last show in New York. You literally came 5th. You came 5th in your pro debut.
Last. Yeah, no. No. That's so funny. I didn't even think. Like I came off that stage. One, it was a strange feeling because like whenever I'm not winning, you have that feeling of I haven't won. Yeah. But that's an ingrained feeling because I'm always looking for the pro card or the first or whatever. But I didn't win an FMG for a while there, so that was probably more slightly triggering, you know, of that feeling. But like, I got off stage and I was like equally like, what the fuck did I do? Then I was also like, where did I come? Because I was really confused. And Matt's like, you came 5th. And I was like, no, I didn't. I was like, he's like, you were in the top lineup. And I was like, oh, that's nice. So because I had no idea how they ran and it was super different to our shows back home. And I was literally backstage just like, just happy to be there.
And that's the best. That's the best. Are you excited for post-show pending whether or not if you win or you don't win?
Yeah, so like I have 4 shows and that's 4 chances to qualify, obviously. Hopefully I'm putting it out to the universe that I qualify in the first 2. If I don't, it wasn't meant to be. The last 2 are like stacked. So that's like Tampa and Texas Pro. So like there's going to be really big names at the Texas Pro, which is really exciting. So that I shouldn't have really registered for it already just in case I do qualify because I won't do that last show because it's just like if I qualify for Olympia, that will be the goal.
Save yourself, yeah.
But now I've registered ahead of time, so I might have to do it, and that's okay. That's just going to be an opportunity to stand up against these people to see how well how well I could do. But yeah, so the idea is obviously to qualify. If I don't, I don't, and I'm just going to have to be okay with that. And if I do, I go back over the States in October.
That is amazing. Well, I am so excited for you. I am going to be screaming for you watching the live stream. It's amazing to see, and the fact that you have a thriving business, you're a good mom, you're a good partner, you're a good friend in the gym, you show up for everybody else loves you, and you're still going and doing pro shows over in America. That is a testament to how hard you work.
Thank you.
And you're just a great person. I'm so excited to watch you compete. I'm so excited to sort of join you on the journey with posing, and I'll be cheering you on. But thank you for coming on. I've learned so much about you, and I feel like your mindset is just next level.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming on. Where can people find you if they want to follow you, follow your journey?
Just Emily_King Bodies. And then King Bodies anywhere. If you put it somewhere, it will pop up.
Oh, yeah, it will pop up. That's it. That's it. And so your first show's in 5 weeks?
Yeah.
Amazing. And you've got 4 back-to-backs.
Or 4 weeks.
Amazing.
I don't know.
Well, everybody can watch along, cheer for you. You'll be posting. I'll be posting as well, so that's exciting. But thank you for coming on, and I'll talk to everybody next episode. Bye.